What is your name, please?
My name is Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson.
My name is Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson.
My name is Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson.
Only one of these people is the real Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Gene Rayburn, and Kitty Carlisle on To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Salem Cigarettes. Good evening, panel.
Hi, Bud.
Oh, boy, bright and eager tonight, aren't we, huh? Open up those affidavit cards, the envelope, if you will, for the first one. Take out your affidavit and follow along with me, if you will. I, Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson, am a genealogist. I trace family trees as far back into the past as possible. The best sources for such genealogical detective work are birth certificates, parish records, family Bibles, and old graveyards. I have performed my services for people in every walk of life, from noblemen to nobodies. If you would like to hire my firm to trace your family tree, count on it taking from 6 months to a year and costing about $1,000. Naturally, it takes a bit longer and the price goes up sharply if your name happens to be Smith or Jones. Signed, Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson. And here we go with our first round tonight, panel. Three persons, I should say, all claiming to be Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson, outstanding genealogist. So may we start this first round of questioning with Tom Poston. Tom?
Oh, thank you, Bud. Number two, just as a sort of a side question, do you happen to know what brass rubbing is?
Well, it's a form of when you have a shield, at least the shield put upon here, when it is rubbed, it makes it look antiqued.
Oh, thank you. Number three, for instance, now, how would you determine where my ancestors came from? If I can end a sentence in a preposition like that. How would you determine where, now say it goes back into Kentucky a few generations, and it's like you can't find any records. Where do you go then?
If there are no records, I can't do anything at all about it, you see. I have to have the records.
Oh. Even for $1,000?
Peggy.
Number one, what is the bar sinister on a coat of arms?
There isn't a bar sinister on the coat of arms.
Thank you. Number two, where do you go for birth certificates in London?
Somerset House.
Thank you. Number three, what nationality is the name Cass?
I haven't the foggiest notion, really.
I don't think they do either, but number two, do you know?
No, I don't know.
Oh, well, there you are.
Do you know?
No, yes, I know. It's Irish. Tell me, number one, where do you do this looking up of families?
Oh, all over the place. I mean, it depends where the roots are. You can either start from the roots or work backwards from what information you've got.
I see. Well, number two, if I could just...
I never realized Cass was short for Cassidy.
It is not. They changed it.
They changed it.
Gene Rayburn.
Number two, where is your office?
In Culpeper Lane.
I
in the
didn't
city.
hear.
In Culpeper Lane, in the city.
In this city?
No, in London.
Oh, in London.
Heaven.
Number one, do you have branches in other cities?
One has agents.
Agents in other cities?
Yes.
Number three, tell us about your genealogy. What does all that Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson stand for, I think?
Excuse me. The Vivian L were thrown at me when I was a baby. I couldn't help that.
What does the L mean?
Lawrence.
L for Louis or Lawrence?
Yes.
And how about the rest of it?
Ottley was my mother's maiden name, and the Ward Jackson was my father's name.
And do you have a
Kitty.
Number 2, how many quarterings on a shield make for perfect aristocracy? Well, that is, there can be many, but 4, 16, you can have any kind you like, because the more shields, more quarterings you have, the more shields you have. Number 3, to pursue Peggy's question, if you were born on the wrong side of the blanket, would there not be a bar sinister on your shield?
No, most people believe that it's the bend sinister, not the bar sinister, by the way.
Thank you. Number 3, may I ask you where your office is?
In Oxford, 179 the High Street.
Thank you. Number 1, what do you call a border in heraldry?
A border?
Yes.
The inset part of the shield.
And what is it called?
The border.
Yeah, the name in heraldry.
I'm afraid that question's on the wrong side of the blanket. In any event, the time is gone for asking questions. Will you kindly use the precious moments remaining to you in marking your ballots immediately, if you will, panel, and without change, and of course, no consultation is permitted as you vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Team of challengers will, of course, receive $250 for every incorrect vote. All ballots marked? Very well. Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 1. There were a couple of things I didn't like really about, but he did say, as opposed to number 3, that you could also start at the root. You don't have to start with the person himself and go backwards. You can start at the root of the name and work forward. But I thought that number 2 might possibly know what brass rubbing was, in view of the fact that so much of the work is done in graves and so forth. You know, it's not what she said at all.
Peggy.
Well, I voted for the one who didn't know what she said at all, number 2. First of all, because her name is Vivian. That's a girl's name where I come from. Oh, well, anyway, and another thing, I read a lot of murder mysteries, and you're always looking up things in Somerset House, and she knew that.
All right, Jean, what is your choice?
Her answer about the location of the place to find birth certificates impressed me, and I, too, like to think of Vivian as a girl's name.
And Kitty.
I voted for number 1 because Vivian, spelled V-I-V-I-A-N, is a man's name, and V-I-V-I-E-N is a lady's name. And number 3 said he had his office in Oxford Street, and I don't think he's really British.
All right, there we have it. 2 for 2 and 2 for 1. Let's see how close we come to the truism of the matter as we learn which one of these persons actually is the outstanding genealogist. So will the real Vivian L. Ottley Ward Jackson please stand up? Well, we consider a 50-50 split a very good job of fooling, so you can relax on that one and think that you've done a good job. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do? You got a half of the votes.
My name is Phyllis Prendergast, and I'm a secretary.
And number 3, what is your real name and what do you do?
I'm Warren Cromwell, and I'm writing a book on tattoos and tattooing.
Cromwell is certainly a very British name. Were you born in England?
No, I was born in upstate New York. But among my forebears is an Englishman with a rather well-known name, Oliver Cromwell.
Aha! There's the top. What did you want to ask, Peggy?
I always thought there was a bar sinister. I mean, what is the bar sinister?
No, there isn't such a thing as a bar sinister.
What is it?
It's a sinister bend. Bend sinister.
But is it on
A
shield?
bar sinister
Yes,
it
it is on the shield, though, indeed. It comes from the left side, or the right as you look at it, and it goes to the other corner, the base.
I
But
see.
it is a bend sinister.
And you repeat what you just heard, Peggy. Anyway, we've got to wrap this up now. I'm sorry to say our time is running away fast, but there were 2 incorrect votes at $250, my good friends. That's a total, of course, of $500 from Salem Cigarettes, as well as a carton of Salem's on your way out. And our sincere thanks to you for being with us. Good night, and God bless you. Now it's time to take a refresher course in springtime freshness. Only takes to present our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Doris Young. My name is Doris Young. My name is Doris Young.
All right. Fellas,
right now.
If you can, will you follow along with these next copies of affidavits, please? I, Doris Young, own and operate a school where I teach scuba diving and snorkel diving. I am also a guide for underwater tours. As a sideline, I do some treasure hunting. From time to time, I work as an underwater model. My husband, my 3-year-old baby, and I all live aboard a 48-foot yawl moored in the waters of an island paradise. Signed, Doris Young. Panel, 3 lovely young ladies, all claiming to be Doris Young, professional scuba diver. And we'll start this cross-examination with Peggy Cass. Peggy?
I've got a terrific inferiority complex just to start out. Number 1, where's your island paradise?
Nassau in the Bahamas.
Thank you. Number 3, where is Baku Reef?
I don't know.
Number 2, do you know where Baku Reef is? Number 1, do you?
No.
Oh, number 3, where is the Great Barrier Reef?
I don't know that either.
Well, we'll get off the subject of reefs. Number 1, what's the difference between a sloop and a ketch?
The way they're rigged.
Thank you. Number 2, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Gene.
Thank you. Number 2, what is the medical designation when you get nitrogen bubbles in the bloodstream?
Rapture of the deep.
Number 3, do you agree with that?
No, I would say it's the bins.
The bend?
Known as the bins, yes.
Mm-hmm. Number 1, what is the visibility under the water where you conduct your school? How many feet can you see?
175 feet at its best.
Uh-huh. Number 2, what is the difference between a yawl and a schooner?
Well, it's the way it's rigged.
That's a standard answer for all.
She's rigged pretty good herself.
Number 1.
Kitty.
The rigging around here is marvelous.
I would like to say for the record, that's the only way this show is rigged.
The fellows are so undone by all of this. What is the difference, number 2, between a frogman and a scuba diver?
Well, mostly it's the equipment.
Thank you. Number 3, when
We're
you're
back to
photographed...
that again.
When you're photographed under the water, how close is the photographer to you?
It depends upon what they're photographing.
Well, you.
If they're photographing me, they're anywhere from 20 to 30 feet.
Number 1, do you agree with that? That far away, 20 to 30 feet?
No, it would depend if they wanted a close-up or a long-distance shot of the reef.
Tom, your turn.
Thank you. I would like to ask number 1, for instance, which is closer to a yawl in terms of rigging, a lugger or a sloop?
Lugger is a German gun. What's wrong with you?
You don't know that much about it, huh, number 1?
No.
No. Okay. Number 3, is shark repellent, does it work?
I would say that there is no such thing as shark repellent that works.
You would, eh?
And that's all the time
How about
we
wolf
have. So will you kindly mark your ballots if you can find them. Mark them at once without change, and of course no consultation as usual while you are voting. And while you are voting for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. All ballots marked? Everybody okay. Tom, which one did you choose this time?
Well, I may have done a very foolish thing. I voted for number 1. I voted for number 1.
Peggy, your vote.
Well, I voted for number 3 because she knew what the bends were. And I don't think the difference between a ketch and a sloop is in the rigging. I think it's in the fact that one of them at the back of the boat is higher than in the other one. So I voted for number 3. Hi.
Gene, what is your choice?
I didn't vote for number 3 because I asked for the medical designation, and they don't call it the bends in medical circles. There's another name for it, which I don't know, but I would have recognized it
It's
if
called the
she...
bars, Gene.
The bars. Bar sinister.
Bar sinister.
I voted for number 1 because we didn't ask her enough questions.
And Kitty.
I voted for number 3 because when Tom asked her about shark repellent, she looked rather terrified and said there is no such thing, and I'm sure this is true.
Very well, there we have it, broken like it was the first time. Not exactly the same way, but 2 for 1 and 2 for 3. Split that way down the middle, 50-50. Let's see who's right and who's wrong now, as we learn which of these young ladies is the professional scuba diver. So, will the real Doris Young please stand up? Fooling, I think. As I said to the first group, 50-50 is all right. When you fool a panel like this, you're doing all right, even halfway. Just to set the record straight, Doris Young and her husband own and operate Underwater Tours Limited in Nassau. So if you want a guided tour
Tell me,
underwater...
I wanted to ask, do you wear your own lung when you go... Is it...
And the underwater guided tour?
Is the tourist underwater as well?
Yes.
Oh.
Sure, just as you were tonight. Let's find out about these other two. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
Shirley Ornstein, and I run and operate a gift shop called The Second Look.
I need to tell you, they took more than a second look tonight. Number 3, you got half of the votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My real name is Cynthia Brooks. I work for General Economics Corporation as a stockbroker, and I can't swim.
Check the score, we find there were 2 and 2. 2 incorrect, 2 correct. The incorrect are the ones you're interested in at $250 each, ladies. That is, of course, $500. And that's not bad any day or night of the week. That comes to you from Salem Cigarettes, as does a carton of Salem's when you weigh out. And our sincere thanks to you for playing our game with us, and hope you had as much fun as we did. Good night, and God bless you. Now I think it's time for us all to enjoy some refreshments. Are you ready to watch 2 people in love in the springtime? Let's meet our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Bill Moyers.
My name is Bill Moyers.
My name is Bill Moyers.
Follow along once again, panel, if you will, with your copies of this affidavit. I, Bill Moyers, have been with the Peace Corps since its inception in 1961. I have served the Corps in many different capacities, including the recruiting and training of volunteers. I travel extensively, making lightning trips of inspection to those areas where members of the Peace Corps are serving. I am the youngest person in the present administration to have received a presidential appointment with Senate confirmation. I am now the Deputy Director of the Peace Corps, reporting directly to Sergeant Shriver and President John F. Kennedy. Signed, Bill Moyers. Very well, panel, you've heard these gentlemen all claiming to be the same one, namely this time Bill Moyers, Deputy Director of the Peace Corps. And let's start this round with the host of the match game, Gene Rayburn.
Thank you, Bud. Number 3, there's a Broadway show now that has as its storyline something about the Peace Corps. Can you tell me the name of that show?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not familiar with it.
Number 1, do you know that?
Hotspot.
Hotspot. Number 2, what street is your office building located in Washington?
We're located at 408 Lafayette Square.
Number 1, who is Dr. Sylvan Kaplan?
Dr. Kaplan is a psychiatrist with the Peace Corps.
Number 2, what is the name of the highest-ranking lady executive in the Peace Corps?
That's Eloise Fitzgerald.
Number 3, do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
Number 2, I beg your pardon, you do not agree?
I do not agree.
What is the name of the highest-ranking lady executive in the Peace Corps?
Kitty Carlisle.
Kitty Carlisle.
Kitty?
Well, I would like to say that I think this is one of the single most creative pieces of governmental thinking, and I'm delighted to meet whichever one of you is Bill Moyers. Bill Moyers, number 1, do you know where Niger is?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's in the southwest. It's in the central western part of Africa.
Thank you. Number 2, what is Sergeant Shriver's wife's name?
Sergeant Shriver's wife's name is Eunice Kennedy
Thank you.
Shriver.
Number 2, how long do your recruitees serve in the Peace Corps? Number 3, I'm sorry.
They have a maximum of 2 years
Thank
to serve.
you. Number 1.
Tom.
Thank you. Number 1, where's your office in Washington?
806 Connecticut Avenue.
I had a good question there. Number 3, what are the aims of the Peace Corps? Quickly, if you can.
Well, basically, our aims are to create a better understanding between Americans and foreign nationals.
Thank you.
And for them to for us to get a better understanding of their habits and way of life.
Number 2, is the Peace Corps politically oriented? Could you tell us, please?
No, it isn't.
Number 1, does that mean that you're not asking your Peace Corps members to be like propagandists and so forth in these countries to which they visit?
We believe that they best represent our society abroad by what they do and the spirit in which they do it.
Thank you.
Peggy.
Number 1, what's the youngest age you can be in the Peace Corps?
18.
Thank you. Number 3, what's the oldest?
Actually, there's no limit.
Unlimited, thank you. Number 2, where do you train? Where's your training area?
We train all over the country and in Puerto Rico.
Thank you. Number 3, how long do you have to train?
Well, the basic training goes on for about 3 months, and then in the country, you have a few weeks of other training.
Number 1, where is the heaviest bunch of Peace Corps people? Where are they? You know, in what country?
The biggest
Where do you
lump.
send the most Peace Corps?
The time is up, I'm sorry to say.
And just in the nick of time.
Oh, boy. All right, please mark your ballots now, if you will, please, panel, on the information that you have gleaned thus far. Do the best you can with it. Mark them at once without change and, of course, no consultation. As you vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All balloting finished?
Could I ask you a couple more questions?
I wish there were time, Tom. All right. If you voted, Tom, for whom did you vote?
2. Started to make a 1 there, but I voted for number 2. And I wish I knew why. I tell you, friends, I wish I knew. I just voted for number 2.
Peggy.
Well, I voted for number 2 because well, in the first place, he looks young, and he's got to be young, and also, he seems nice. I mean, I'd like to think he was in the Peace Corps. I'm crazy for you, number 2.
All right. Gene, what is your vote, please?
I admire all of you gentlemen. 2 of you have boned up on the Peace Corps and have learned a great deal about it, and I think that's fine. I voted for number 1 because, yeah, that's number 1, because he knew who Dr. Kaplan was.
And Kitty, what is your choice?
Well, I voted for number 1 because I like the way he answered the question about the political orientation of the Peace Corps, and they all look young, and also the question about Dr. Kaplan. I hope that's true.
There is no Dr. Kaplan.
All right, there we have it.
I have a friend who's in Niger, and he knew where Niger was, in the Peace Corps.
All right, well, let's get to the truth now, immediately, and settle this whole thing as we find out which one of these gentlemen actually is the deputy director of the Peace Corps. So will the real Bill Moyers please stand up? Thank you very much, sir. We are all proud of the work that you're doing. Number 2, what is your real name, sir, and what do you really do?
My name is Mark Kuhn. I work for Hornblower & Weeks, and I'm an investment banker.
And number 3, what is your real name, sir? What do you do?
My name is Ronald Gero of Gero Brothers. We manufacture women's shoes.
Well, this has been a funny trend tonight, the same kind of a voting sort of routine all the way down, 2 and 2, right down the line tonight for each round. That means in your case, of course, 2 incorrect votes at $250 each, $500 coming your way, gentlemen, from Salem Cigarettes, and a carton of Salem's on your way out, as well as our thanks for being with us, and hope you enjoyed the visit. We certainly enjoyed having you here. Good night, and God bless you. Just quickly, for the record, there is a Dr. Kaplan. Gene Rayburn was pulling Kitty's leg at the time. The National Safety Council, listen to this, estimates that widespread use of seatbelts could save 5,000 lives each year. Remember, seatbelts save lives. Use them. Good night, panel, and thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget to join us the same time next week, and I'll see you tomorrow, the afternoon of the daytime show. And in the meantime, saying good night right now for Salem Cigarettes, may I remind you once again to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. To Tell the Truth has been brought to you by Salem, the cigarette that refreshes your taste. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth. This program was pre-recorded.